Now, it was a dispute that tore communities apart and left a legacy of bitterness and division that still exists today. 40 years ago, the year-long miners' strike began, and East Midlands coal miners and their families were on the front line. And while the pits are long gone, the memories of the strike are still painful for those who were involved. In a special report, Nicola Gilroy has brought two miners together from opposite sides of the picket line.
United in a job, both miners in the East Midlands, but divided in one of the longest and most bitter industrial disputes in post-war Britain.
My name's Ian Pyatt. I worked at Island Colliery, North Derbyshire, and I was a striking miner.
My name is Peter Shaw. I worked at Bilsthorpe Colliery, and I worked throughout the 84-85 miners' strike.
In 1984, plans to shut 20 coal mines with a loss of 20,000 jobs prompted a strike in areas most affected by closures.
These lads from Killingley go to, say, Nottinghamshire. It's against the law.
Well, we'll have to ignore the law then.
Are you all prepared to ignore the law?
Yes. In this situation, we've got to do.
Nottinghamshire miners refused to be intimidated. After mass picketing from Yorkshire, they voted overwhelmingly to work.
It wasn't nice going to work when other people were out on strike, but also I felt and I thought a lot about it, that it was the right thing to do because my members had had a democratic ballot. The democratic ballot was to work, and so, you know, if I'd been instructed by my members that that's what they're going to do, then yeah, I was going to go to work.
What you support? Come and stand with us.
Well, we've had a ballot. We voted to work.
With so many pits still working, the strike had little impact on other industries and dragged on for 12 months. It deepened divisions between those struggling without a wage and the comfortably working miners. In the end, for the striking miners, it was total defeat. They marched back to work in March 1985, having achieved nothing.
This is on the day we went back to work.
What was the mood like?
Disappointment that we've been out a year and not achieved anything, and anybody who says we won, absolute lunatics. We lost.
The mines are all gone now, but the bitterness isn't.
The lads that never went on strike, no respect whatsoever. I think I feel more strongly because it was just, it's thin end at wedge with what's happened in our society as well. You know, there's people now on dole, and they've been on for generations, and I think it's a way of life. You've got 0-hour contracts. You've got people on lesser pensions. If they'd have come out on strike, we would have won that strike.
Yet despite these divisions, after much thought, Ian has agreed to meet Peter, although he's refused to talk directly with him.
I do sort of feel like this is just going to grind in circles, like Tom and Jerry.
I think the fact that we've both decided to do it, I think that's a big thing. I think that's a nice thing.
Ian, this is Peter.
Hello, Ian. We've had two strikes, 72, 74, which were successful. And both of those strikes came about because of national ballots. And that's what I believe should have happened.
I don't think it was about vote. I think I do think it was an I'm all right Jack situation.
So after finding out more about each other, is there any common ground now?
We have common ground now. In fact, that we've got a fight for his mine workers pension scheme. That's one of the reasons I wanted to meet here today, to mention that and get it in public eye, because not everybody knows about it.
With the sound of what Ian's saying, we're on the same page on a lot of social issues.
Well, he's campaigning for Labour. He's moving. As a human being, I can't fault him with what he's doing in that aspect of his life. I can't say that I'm going to, be joining Peter on Facebook. The obvious view I don't respect is that he chose to work, when we were all out on strike, and what happened since. He has to, he has to look in the mirror at the end of the day.
I didn't think either of us would change views on the central bits, and I don't think we have. But it's it's good of you to come, and I've enjoyed chatting.
Ian Pyatt and Peter Short speaking there on what is clearly still a very emotive subject. And you could really feel the tension there. You know, Tom, you represent Gedling, which has a really strong mining history. 40 years on,